Single mothers from poor families are always last.
Bank clerk Smith, laughing crudely and ridiculing me. At first, I couldn't comprehend his words. No, I didn't want to understand it. What a rude man he is. If it were allowed, I'd want to punch him right in the face right now.
We'll call the poor folks later. It's a waste of time.
This guy seems oblivious to how he's being viewed by those around him. Everyone frowns at his behavior, casting cold glances his way. In that charged atmosphere, my darling daughter spoke up.
Let's transfer all $1.2 billion to the bank next door.
Immediately after that, this bank clerk was about to experience hell. I am Jessica Thompson. I'm just a regular mom who adores her daughter. And I am a single mother living with my daughter, Emily. We were living in a small apartment with good sunlight, but it was getting cramped with a 12-year-old child. With Emily, about to start middle school, I thought it would be a good time to move. There's another reason I started considering to move. Recently, some minor troubles have been happening, which made me originally think about leaving this apartment. The trouble was related to the parking lot. Occasionally, someone would park in the monthly parking spot I rented, without permission.
Mom, they're parked there again.
Really, what a hassle. The car was unmistakably a luxury vehicle, noticeable to anyone who saw it. It seemed the car was used for work purposes, as it would disappear at night. However, whenever I returned home early due to work, the luxury car would be parked there, preventing me from parking my own car. This left me no choice but to kill time by shopping or running errands. Frankly, it's a nuisance. I'm paying every month to park my car there. Certainly not for allowing unauthorized parking. Excuse me. That car is parked there again. Yes, please handle it. Contacting the management company for a warning was ineffective. So, I decided to contact the police.
This sort of parking on private property like this is a civil non-intervention matter.
Is that so?
Well, we can patrol and give a verbal warning to the car owner if necessary.
The police were hesitant due to their policy of non-intervention in civil matters, but they promised to give a verbal warning to the owner as soon as they identified them. However, this seemed to have angered the luxury car's owner.
Hey, you! You're the one who told the cops about me.
One day, while returning from shopping with Emily, we were confronted by the owner of the luxury car, who had been lying in wait. As we stood there, frozen from the sudden outburst, the man started yelling at us even more furiously. Because of what you said to the police, I was humiliated. I was just borrowing it for a little while. You're too narrow-minded, he ranted. If I had been alone, I might have yelled back. In fact, I might have turned the tables on him. But now, Emily is with me. I just patiently listened until he finished his tirade.
I'll remember your face.
Having said what he wanted to say, the man stormed off, still shouting. I'm sorry, Emily. That must have been scary for you.
No, I'm fine.
Due to this frightening experience, we decided to move earlier than planned. Luckily, we found a nice apartment that met our criteria and looked forward to living in our new home. During the moving process, I needed to go to the bank, so I took Emily, who was on summer break, with me.
Wow, it's pretty crowded here.
Yes, it seems we'll have to wait. Is that okay?
It's fine. I brought a book to kill time.
The bank was quite busy, and there seemed to be a wait. As I was about to take a number and wait my turn, I heard a sudden exclamation. Ah! Looking towards the source of the voice, I saw a middle-aged man staring at me. His face seemed familiar. He was the owner of the luxury car, who had yelled at us.
Oh, that man? He's the one who parked his car without permission, right? And instead of apologizing, he yelled at us.
Emily remarked in a normal voice, having recognized him too. The man's loud voice had already drawn attention, and now the whispers began to spread among the people around. You shouldn't speak ill of others.
Okay.
I didn't confirm or deny her statement, just gently corrected her. The man was wearing a nameplate that read Smith. So he works here, I thought, and found him turn red and look down. I took a number and motioned for Emily to sit down on a sofa with me. Emily's bravery might have come from me. With that thought in mind, I waited to be called.
Isn't this taking too long?
Exactly. Maybe we should ask about it. But even after an hour, there was no sign of our number being called. The call number had long passed my turn. People who had numbers after mine had already finished their business and left. I stood up and approached the lady at the counter. Excuse me, it seems my number still hasn't been called. The woman was wearing a nameplate that read Johnson. Just as Johnson, with a pale face, was about to say something, he got interrupted.
Hey, Johnson.
Suddenly, Smith stepped in and stopped her. Startled, Johnson shuddered. Please wait a little longer, she said with difficulty, bowing her head. Okay, I replied, though feeling something was amiss. Smith watched me with a sly grin as I reacted that way. It was honestly unpleasant, but I chose to ignore it.
What did they say?
They said to wait a little longer.
Is that so?
Emily looked unsatisfied, but waited quietly. Time passed, and still, we weren't called. Emily had finished her book and was fidgeting. I'll go ask again. Telling that to Emily, I asked Johnson again, but got the same response as before. Suspicious. I asked another bank clerk. That clerk also looked down, repeating, please wait a little longer. In that situation, Smith looked at me with a triumphant expression. I couldn't help but meet his eyes, and upon noticing my attention, he smirked and spoke.
You're a single mother, right? Single moms, especially the poor ones, are always the last.
What? What did this man just say? Not sure if it was my lack of understanding that was funny, but Smith started laughing at me as if to mock me.
We're not going to waste other customers' time on someone like you. We'll call the poor folks later. What a waste of time.
At those words, rage momentarily whitened my mind. Imagining landing a solid punch on his face, I observed Smith and the surroundings. Unaware or indifferent to the disapproving faces around, Smith continued to laugh crudely. Some even cast cold glances at him. Probably, this was his spiteful response to being called out for illegal parking, and what Emily had said earlier. Several clerks, including Johnson, are looking pale and downcast. I was infuriated by such childish behavior from a grown man. So, is this the policy of this bank, to serve those without money last? I raised my voice deliberately loud enough for others to hear. More and more people around started gathering their gazes, coldly staring and whispering about Smith, who seemed oblivious to it. He kept smirking and looked down at me as if he was superior. Just because I'm a single mother doesn't mean I'm poor, right? Even if I were, I'm still a customer who deposits money in this bank. Shouldn't I be treated the same as other customers?
You probably just have a few thousand in there, right? It's always those living in cheap apartments and driving compact cars who talk like that.
He said that mockingly and laughed at me. That's it. I won't forgive this anymore. At that moment, Emily, with a displeased look on her face, came up to me. And while glaring at Smith, she opened her mouth to speak.
Hey, Mom, instead of this bank, with such an unpleasant man, let's move all of our $1.2 billion to the bank next door.
Yes, we should? I agreed, smiling at my daughter's words.
What are you talking about, kid? You mean $1.2, right?
Saying that, Smith sneered. I slammed our passbooks in front of him. Why don't you check for yourself then? At my words, Smith casually opened his bank book with a look of confidence. His expression turned pale in seconds. In response, this time I had a triumphant look on my face. In fact, I am a company president. I took over the business from my husband, who passed away 10 years ago. My husband, Jake, started an ID company during his college days.
My dream is to grow this company and bring joy to many people.
True to his word, the company started small, but Jake had the talent and it grew rapidly, becoming larger and larger.
I'll get Jessica to help out too.
Of course, this company is my dream too. Originally, Jake and I were business partners. We were classmates in college and also members of the team that started the company together.
Jessica, would you come with me?
Yes, it sounds exciting.
Also, I want you to be my girlfriend.
We started dating when we graduated from college. Since then, I've been working hard alongside Jake. The company we began with a few members grew to over 100 employees in 10 years.
We've come this far because you were there, Jessica.
That's true. I could keep going too, because you were there, Jake. And on our 10th anniversary, Jake proposed to me.
I want Jessica to be the one I share the rest of my life with.
Jake said to me. By the way, the proposal happened at a restaurant with a beautiful night view, a rare outing for us. Normally, we never go to fancy restaurants, just sticking to bars and the like. So both Jake and I were super nervous about it. But after he proposed, I realized that Jake's nervousness wasn't just about that. Yes, I'd be delighted.
Oh, good.
As I nodded, close to tears, Jake's tension visibly melted away. He beamed back, his face alight with joy. It's a fond memory, how I thought, I want to support this man for life, and smiled back wholeheartedly. Our married life with Jake was filled with happiness every day. No matter how tired we were from work, being at home with each other was always comforting.
Jessica, I'll cook dinner tonight.
Thank you. Then, I'll take care of the laundry.
Thanks for doing that.
We always express gratitude for shared household tasks and exchange gifts on anniversaries. We regularly go on dates, always sharing our honest feelings with each other. It was a truly loving life.
I'm so glad I met you, Jessica.
You too?
Let's make sure our child is as happy as we are.
Yes, we must make our child very happy. Emily was born 2 years after we got married. We had discussed that if we had a daughter, her middle name would be mine, and if it was a son, we would name him after Jake.
She's a cute girl.
Sure, for her name.
I've been thinking, how about Emily?
Yes, I love it. And so, we named our daughter Emily. Jake doted on her and was actively involved in parenting.
I'll take care of her tonight. You get some rest.
Thank you. We took turns dealing with the night crying, and we had become quite adept at changing diapers. I bought a blender for making baby food, but since Emily didn't eat much, it ended up being underused.
Well, it's another good memory.
Yes, let's tell Emily when she's older. It'll be a funny story.
Exactly.
Jake was so smitten with Emily that he often accidentally spoke to his employees in baby talk.
Hey, boss. You're doing the baby talk again.
Oh, sorry. Forget that.
How many times is this now?
Really such a doting parent, aren't you?
The employees watched Jake fondly, and I was secretly smiling too. When Emily started crawling, Jake would crawl after her, and when she began walking, he was overly protective, always staying close, in case she fell. Emily adored Jake, and said "da-da" before Mama.
Did you hear that, Jessica? She just said "da-da."
Yes, I heard.
Yay, Emily called me "da-da." She called me "da-da."
Although I was slightly taken aback by Jake's tearful joy, I felt happy. But our happy family life was abruptly struck by misfortune. Jake, Emily has a fever. I'm going to leave work early.
Okay. Should I come along too?
It's okay. I'll leave first. Shortly after I returned from maternity leave, I got a call from Emily's daycare that she had a fever. After getting permission from Jake, I left work early, picked up Emily from daycare, and took her to the pediatrician. It's gotten so late. Jake must be worried. It was past 7 p.m. by the time we left the crowded clinic. What's this? Then, in front of the apartment building, there were lots of police cars and ambulances. I was wondering what had happened when.
It's a traffic accident. How scary. I hope the driver who got rear-ended is okay.
I heard passers-by whispering about it. As I got closer, I learned that a car had run a red light and caused the accident. And then, the car that was hit by another running a red light and crashed into a pole was a car I knew all too well. Jake. It was supposed to be Jake's car. The police confirmed that Jake had been in the car. He was trapped between the pole and the other car and had passed away. In the car, I found a bag with Emily's favorite yogurt and ice cream. He must have bought it, thinking about what Emily, who had a fever, could eat. But now, they were ruined. If only I had asked him to come with me. I don't remember much after that. Our parents, who lived far away, rushed over.
Poor Jessica.
Leaving little Emily behind. Such a tragedy.
I vaguely remember them being by my side. They handled all the arrangements while I was in a daze. Everyone cried over Jake's sudden departure. Unaware of everything, Emily alone was beaming with a smile at the people who had gathered. This only deepened the sadness. The fact that Jake was gone. The horrific scene of the traffic accident. Remembering this, I sold the apartment we lived in at the time and rented a smaller apartment. I rented a small apartment, just right for Emily and me. I'll protect Emily for both of us, Jake. I took over Jake's role as president of the company. No one objected, and everyone supported me. I was grateful for that. Jake had left a substantial inheritance for Emily's sake. But I would have preferred Jake's presence over any amount of money. I would have been content with a life of poverty, if only Jake were with us. Still, for Emily's sake, I decided to love and protect her as Jake would have. Did you get a good look, Smith? I asked the pale-faced Smith. Is it just a small amount of money to you? In response to my question, Smith just stood there, his face red and trembling, without saying a word. Was it shame or anger? Since he remained silent, I decided to take action. I cannot entrust my assets to a bank with a clerk like you. I will cease all transactions here. I declared to Smith and smiled at Johnson, who had been anxiously watching us. Could you please call the branch manager? This person is not suitable for discussion.
Yes, right away.
Johnson hurried off to fetch the branch manager. Moments later, the branch manager arrived, looking flustered.
Mrs. Thompson, it's been a while. What can I do for you today?
I'm not sure how Johnson introduced me, but the branch manager seemed quite flustered, his voice sounding a bit off.
She really is the president.
Seeing the branch manager bow his head, Smith muttered to himself, while looking at me. I handed the useless number ticket to the branch manager. I wasn't called even after waiting for so long, so when I asked Smith, he said that single mothers and poor people are served last. Don't steal other customers' time. Wait your turn, he said. I can't wait any longer. I'd like to do business with the bank next door from now on. The branch manager turned pale at my words.
Don't believe it. I have a proof.
Saying that, Emily started using her smartphone. I had given her a smartphone for safety and security reasons. It seemed she had recorded our earlier conversation on it, From Emily's smartphone, the earlier abusive words of Smith played out. "Oh, you recorded it?"
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Presented with such evidence, the branch manager desperately pleaded an apology. Nearby, Smith was still looking down, unchanged from earlier.
Please, we can't lose your business. It would put us in a very difficult position.
Because he ranted at me about being cool, you know? I'm sure it's not a big deal for you to do business with me, is it? Is it the bank's policy to put off poor people in the first place? If others have been treated like this, I don't want any relationship with a bank that lacks basic human rights awareness. You never know what might happen next. That's what trust is, right?
You're absolutely right. I'm very sorry.
The branch manager kept apologizing, nearly in tears. I'm starting to feel sorry for the branch manager. It's not his fault, it's Smith's. Smith remained silent, still trembling. At this rate, nothing will be resolved. Smith, do you have something to say? He suddenly looked up.
You're just living off your husband's inheritance. How dare you talk like that? Being a woman.
His yelling echoed throughout the bank. The situation then escalated into a storm of verbal abuse.
You must be relieved your husband is gone. Just happy to have his money. All women think like that.
Stop it.
The branch manager tried to intervene, but Smith was uncontrollable and beyond anyone's help. I stepped back with Emily and glared at him. "Shut up!" I shouted back. "You know nothing. Don't say such things." Smith was taken aback, having never been yelled at before. I wanted my husband to live. I didn't care about the money. Just wanted him by my side. To watch our daughter grow together, to age together. That was all I wanted. I couldn't stop the tears that naturally welled up in my eyes. I couldn't tell if it was frustration or sadness. I had vowed not to cry in front of Emily, but couldn't stop. Emily. However, in that moment, Emily gently took my hand. And she smiled at me.
Yes, we are a single mother family, but that's not bad. I'm happy. I miss Dad, but Mom loves me so much. What does it matter to you if we're a single mother family? Have we caused you any trouble? The only nuisance here is you, isn't it? Harassing us based on your assumptions, making others apologize for you. You illegally parked in our lot and got angry when called out. Even as a child, I think adults like you are unbelievable. You have a poor heart.
Emily was desperately trying to convey her feelings, her voice turning into a tearful shout towards the end. I hugged my daughter tightly. How she had grown up before I even realized it. Smith still seemed to want to say something. However, it seemed like he was completely out-argued by an elementary schooler.
You guys, you guys.
He kept repeating. It was then that someone reprimanded Smith.
Let's stop this, Smith. We can't listen to you anymore.
It was Johnson. She looked straight at him.
Damn it.
Smith spat out and ran off somewhere.
Wait.
The branch manager chased after him. Running away when you can argue back? How childish.
I'm very sorry for the discomfort caused.
Johnson apologized sincerely.
If you wish to transfer your deposits to another bank, I'll assist with the procedures.
And with that, she bowed her head. She must have been a victim of Smith too. Probably pressured into not opposing him. Yet, she stood up for us this time. No, with someone like you here, I'll stay. I declined politely. I'm sorry for my lack of composure. I apologize too. Johnson smiled kindly at Emily.
What a gentle child you have.
Johnson, who had complimented Emily, shared that she also had a young daughter. Her daughter is quiet, but seems like a child with a strong core.
I'll raise her to be kind and strong like Emily,
said Johnson, expressing her thoughts. Emily blushed and hid behind me at her words. We never saw Smith at the bank again. What happened to Smith?
He was.
Apparently, he was fired for misconduct. In addition to the incident the other day, it came to light that he had been illegally parking in various places. He had been in trouble with the police several times, receiving tickets and driving without a license. He was caught for this and consequently faced disciplinary action.
That's the story.
Well, he got what he deserved. Johnson, now a familiar face, informed me. Johnson now comes to see me for outside work. We have built a good relationship, including in our personal lives.
My daughter wants to play with Emily again.
Oh, Emily was also saying she'd love to. So let's get together sometime soon.
Yes, please.
When Emily played with Johnson's daughter, she quickly grew fond of Emily. Calling her big sister affectionately, Emily, too, took her role seriously, saying, "I'm her big sister. I have no intention of spending my life with anyone other than Jake, so I can't give Emily a sibling." Maybe Emily understands that, as she seems to dote on the little girl even more. Later, we moved to a new apartment in the city center. Living there brings back memories of the days when the three of us lived together. Dad used to follow you around, remember?
Oh, really?
But I realized the happy memories outweighed the sadness.
I just couldn't help it because Emily was so adorable.
I often feel like Jake is still close by. It feels like he's right there when I look back, smiling at us.
Was Dad always smiling?
Yes, he was.
I kind of remember him, always smiling, and I loved him so much. So when everyone was crying, I thought smiling like him would make them happy too.
Her words took me by surprise. I see. Emily was smiling back then, trying to make everyone laugh just like Jake did. That kindness, she really takes after Jake in that way. That's just like your dad.
Really?
Now, I can laugh and say that. And that's because of the happy memories I have with Jake. I smiled towards heaven, thinking of him. Then, I showed Emily a photo of Jake.
Dad, I've got so much to tell you.
Emily, gazing at Jake's photo, reports everything that's happened so far. As I watched over the situation, the doorbell rang.
Jessica, Emily.
Startled by the voice and turning around, I saw Jake's mother, Mel, standing there. She smiled kindly at Emily.
Thank you for still thinking of him, Jessica.
No, Jake gave me Emily and so many memories.
He always talked about you.
I saw Mel gazing into the distance, as if recalling memories. She smiled at me kindly.
He'd want you two to be happy.
I know, that's just like Jake. Jake would probably prefer us smiling rather than crying over him. Yet, I'll never forget him.
Why don't you come over sometime?
Really?
It's a bit far, but I'd like to talk about Jake.
Emily would be happy too. Then Emily and I spent a few days at my in-laws' place. I learned things about Jake I never knew, and we had a wonderful time. I could almost hear Jake saying, "Stop, it's embarrassing." I had always believed that my daughter needed to be protected at all times. However, Emily grew up to be remarkable and ended up protecting me. In those moments, she seemed incredibly dependable.
Mom, my middle school uniform arrived.
Oh, it looks great. Emily is no longer just someone to be protected. We are not just in a relationship of protecting and being protected. We intend to live our lives hand in hand. Let's have a lavish dinner tonight to celebrate Emily's start of middle school.
Yay, I want to eat Mom's hamburgers.
Alright, I'll make them. I vowed to continue making Emily happy, for Jake's sake too. You know, Dad also loved my hamburgers.
Sounds like I would have gotten along great with Dad.
Of course, you are his daughter. Emily beamed at that. There might be times ahead when she struggles with not having a father. Nonetheless, I'll stay close to her heart and grow together. By the way, Johnson mentioned that she wants to celebrate with us next time, so she suggested we all go out for a meal together.
Got it. I promise to help her daughter with her studies too.
You two have become quite close.
Yay, I'm her big sister.
I plan to do for Emily what Jake would have wanted. So, keep watching over us, okay? I felt like Jake was smiling somewhere.